Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's session. Today we will go for Chemistry Paper 6, Variant 1, 2025 ON. Let's go. First question, hot concentrated HCl react with solid manganese oxide to make chlorine gas. Chlorine gas is toxic and more dense than air, so this is HCl. This is our manganese oxide. And then when they react, they will form chlorine gas. Chlorine gas is toxic and more dense than air. What is the meaning of more dense? It means that it will sink. Concentrated HCl acid is corrosive. The figure shows an apparatus used to make and collect sample of chlorine gas. There is one arrow. The arrow is very obvious. Chlorine is dense, so this thing impossible to collect the chlorine gas. A. Name the item of apparatus labeled X. This is conical flask. Part B. Identify the substance labeled Y. This is hydrochloric acid. Question C. Name an item of apparatus can be used to heat X. So we want to heat here. We can use Bunsen burner. D. There is one arrow in the way of apparatus has been set up. Describe a change that need to be made to correct this arrow. So it's about the chlorine is denser. So if we feed upside down, if we feed like this, then the chlorine will go out. So that's why it's easier for us to trap the chlorine if we use gas string. Then E. Explain why this experiment should be carried out in fume hood because chlorine is toxic. So fume hood can ensure the chlorine is not exposed out, so we won't inhale in the toxic chlorine. Question number 2 is obviously a data analysis question. They want to react HCl and NaOH, then they does 5 experiments. Experiment 1, they use burette of NaOH, run some NaOH out of the burette so that the level of aqueous NaOH is on the burette scale. Record the initial burette reading. So the burette is like this. This burette, they are using NaOH. And then use volumetric pipette to add 25 cm3 of HCl. So the thing that they use burette is the thing that we need to measure the changes in volume. But the thing that we use pipette is a fixed volume. That's why the HCl we need to put into the conical flask is confirmed 25 cm3 of HCl. They put this on a white towel. White towel is to ensure that we can see the change of color easily. Add 5 drops of thymophthalate. Indicator, slowly add NaOH from the burette while swirling the flask until the solution change color. This is the endpoint, and then record the final reading so we know how many volume of NaOH we are using. Experiment 2, empty conical flask and rinse it with distilled water, means we don't want this mixture of HCl and NaOH already. They refill the burette with NaOH, so again they fill up this NaOH. Run some of the aqueous NaOH out of the burette so that the level of aqueous NaOH is on the burette scale. So this is to ensure the volume is accurate. Record the initial burette reading. Use volumetric pipette. Again, they put 25 cm3 of HCl. For experiment 2, everything is the same, just that they add 0.25 gram of sodium hydrogen carbonate. We know sodium hydrogen carbonate can react with acid. So they want to reduce the acids inside the conical flask by adding this in experiment 2. And then stand the conical flask on a white towel again, add thymophthalate again, slowly add NaOH again, swirl until they change color again, endpoint, then record the final reading of burette. Then they have experiment 3, 4, 5. Experiment 3, 4, 5 are using the same setting here and here, just that experiment 3, 4, 5 they change to 0.5 gram of this sodium hydrogen carbonate, 1 gram, 1.5 gram. Then they do this experiment, and we will expect the volume of NaOH that needed is reducing because the HCl inside the conical flask is reduced because of the addition of NaHCO3. So use the information in the description in experiment 1 to 5 and the burette diagram in 2.1 to 2.2 to complete this table. The volume of dilute hydrochloric acid, all of them are using 25 cm3, and ensure all of them we are using 1 decimal place. Then the mass is this. Final reading of the burette we read here, 46.1. And then the initial reading is here, 0.6. The volume of NaOH used to reach the endpoint is this minus this. Then experiment 2, final volume is this, 41.3. Initial is 1.3. So the volume used is 40. Then this also minus, we know is 34.6 and 23.8. So we gather all this info. So we know the minimum volume is 13, maximum is 45. So we can set here as 10, 20. Then it's just nice to fill in all the volumes here. So when mass is 0, volume is 45.5. 0.25 then is 40. 0.5 then is 34.6. 1.0 is 23.8. 1.5 is 13. The question already mentioned this is a straight line that you need to draw, so you just join them. Best fit. Then the next question says the sodium hydrogen carbonate added in experiment 2 to 5 neutralized some of the dilute hydrochloric acid in conical flask. The sodium hydroxide used in the titration neutralized the remaining dilute hydrochloric acid. That's why when they add sodium hydrogen carbonate, the NaOH that we need to use is reducing. Extrapolate the line on your graph in figure 2.3 and deduce the mass of sodium hydrogen carbonate needed to neutralize all dilute hydrochloric acid. Means you do not need to add any NaOH anymore. It's already fully neutralized by NaHCO3. So after we extrapolate, means we draw it longer until x-axis, we can confirm the mass is actually 2.20 gram. Okay, so first you need to draw the line to x-axis. This thing 1 mark, 2.20. They will accept 2.0 to 2.2 because of your best fit might be a bit different ingredient. Unit will gain another marks. So this is for part C. After we draw these, then we go to question F first, because question F is directly related to this question. Question F says, draw a line of figure 2.3 to show the result you would expect if the investigation was repeated using NaOH with twice the concentration. Label your line F. When the concentration is double, the volume needed is half of it. So instead, here is 45.5, it will be around 22 point something. 40 will become 20. 34.6 will become 17.3. So can you see everything will be half of it? Then when we draw the straight line, it will be like this. And then you just label this as my F. So we already done C and F. Then we go to other questions that just need to explain. D1. Explain why volumetric pipette is used rather than measuring cylinder. They always compare these because pipette is more accurate. Then, why it is not possible to use pipette instead of burette to measure the volume of aqueous sodium hydroxide in each experiment. We know pipette we can only measure a fixed volume, but the NaOH for every experiment have different reading. That's why we cannot use pipette. Then E. The conical flask is placed on a white towel to make the color change of indicator of endpoint is more visible. Explain why universal indicator not suitable for this titration. We know universal indicator, even though they can show whether it's acid or alkali, but they do not have a sharp changes in color. This is a problem. That's why we are very difficult to identify the endpoint. So endpoint is not clear if we use this. That's why we always use thymophthalate when it involves neutralization, because the endpoint is much more clearer. Question number 3 is always SWOT analysis, and this question is easy because at the end they have many tables for the information, so you can identify which cation, which anion, which gases are used. So the related info I already extract here, like here, so easier for you to see. In your IGs, you just refer back to the page. Okay, question 3. A student tests two solids J and K. J is lithium chloride. Record the expected observation. The student carried out a flame test on J. So flame test we based on the metal that we use, and here they already says flame test for lithium is red color. Number 2, the student used a rolling Bunsen burner flame to carry out the flame test. Explain why yellow Bunsen burner flame is not suitable. Because it's not hot enough. For part B, the student dissolved the remaining J in distilled water to form solution J. The student divide J into 2 portions. The first portion of J, student add dilute nitric acid and silver nitrate. Silver nitrate and dilute nitric acid test the presence of chloride. And we have chloride, so that's why they will show white precipitate. Number 2, to the second portion of J, the student add sodium hydroxide until it is excess. So sodium hydroxide test is always test for cation, so we refer back to lithium. Lithium, not shown here. That's why we know every group 1 metal, they continue dissolve. So that's why no change. Because initially your lithium chloride is in solution, you add sodium hydroxide, it won't have any changes, it's still dissolved. Then table 3.1 shows the test for solid K. Test 1, they says heat solid K in boiling tube until there is no further change. Whole anhydrous cobalt chloride. This is the test whether it contains water. And then anhydrous cobalt chloride color change from blue to pink. So we can confirm the salt is hydrated, means contain water. So this is from test 1. For test 2, the remaining solid K is dissolved in distilled water to form solution K. Solution K divided into 3 portions. The first portion add ammonia dropwise. They say a green precipitate form. The precipitate remain when excess ammonia added. So the one that have green precipitate and insoluble, green precipitate and insoluble are chromium or iron 2. So this is what we get from test 2. For test 3, to the second portion of K, add 1 cm cube of dilute nitric acid and barium nitrate. This is the test for sulfite. And if it shows white precipitate, means that it confirm have sulfite. Test 4, to the third portion of K, add 3 cm cube of sodium carbonate. Test any gas given. Then they say effervescence and then gas turns lime water milky. So here we can confirm it releases carbon dioxide. Then we can see a question based on the info. The first question states the conclusion that can be made from the observation in test 1. So it is hydrated. 2 different cations can give the observation in test 2. Identify 2 possible cation. They do not say name or they do not say is the formula. So you can write either one. So you can just write this. Then it says, describe an additional test that can be carried out on solution K to confirm which 2 cation you identify in D1 in solid K. To differentiate chromium and iron 2, we can use this because chromium it will soluble in excess, iron 2 is insoluble in excess. So we can test with at excess aqueous sodium hydroxide. The explanation is chromium 3 plus will soluble in excess, while iron 2 plus insoluble in excess. Then E, identify gas given off in test 4, just carbon dioxide, and identify anion in solid K. We can refer to the test 3 that we haven't used yet, is sulfite ion. Last is an experiment question that says when solid metal is added to aqueous salt of less reactive metal, reaction takes place, which is the displacement. The reaction is exothermic, means that they can release heat, and the temperature of the reaction mixture increase. The larger the difference in reactivity of 2 metals, the more exothermic the reaction. They say you have cobalt, manganese, nickel, 3 metals that are or more reactive than copper, react with aqueous copper sulfate. So all these 3 will have the displacement reaction. The temperature of the reaction mixture increase during each reaction. Plan an investigation to find the order of reactivity. The question already tells you temperature will change. So whichever cause higher change in temperature will be the more reactive one. So our experiment is just like this. We need to set the same volume of copper sulfate. And then we add cobalt, manganese, and nickel. And make sure all of them have the same mass. Let's say we use 10 gram. Let's say here we use 200 cm cube. And then of course, all of them we need to measure the initial temperature and the final temperature. Your plan should include how you use the result to find the order of reactivity. We see which one have largest change in the temperature. And then you are provided with powdered samples of cobalt, manganese, and nickel. So it's easy for us to measure the mass. Then we can start our explanation to gain these 6 marks. My final answer is just like this. So you just plan it out by using your idea, then you just write it in words, then you can gain full marks. So this is the end of this paper. Hope you learned something and all the best in your exam. See you in the next class. Bye bye.